shaped face. So I'm going to highlight the top of my chin. I'm going to use whatever's left over of this powder, which is very, very little. I'm going to set my forehead. It's going to look matte for a little bit, I promise you. That Vaseline combined with my more oily skin, by the time I'm done with this makeup, I'm going to be glowy like Marilyn Monroe. So don't worry. It's going to look really matte for a minute, and it's going to eventually settle in and my oils will come through. But I need to set my makeup to a certain extent because I am going to go in with quite a few powder highlights, and I want them to go on smoothly and not skip on top of really wet, dewy skin. I'm also going to dust some of this powder onto my brows, which will actually lighten them a little bit, and it will help me to go over them later on with more of a brow pen so I can draw in like the detail work of my brows. Let's go back to our contour. So going back to that Sculpt palette from Sigma, for powder contour, I'll use the 127 Luxe Sheer Cheek Brush from Zoeva, and I'm going to mix a few of these. So I'm going to start with Faking It. It's definitely more of a cool toned contour shade. I'm going to use this to set that Patrick Ta cream that I used earlier. So on top of my forehead, kind of sweeping it across because he did focus on shortening the length of her forehead. And then now I'm going to start to pretty much stamp this on. I'm keeping it pretty far back. When you look at a lot of her photos of her makeup, first of all, it's, you know, they're really old photos, so it's not the easiest to tell the exact placement that he had going on, because it's, you know, you can't tell the detail as well with like really old photos like that. But what I noticed throughout is he really does keep this center part of her cheek. So like right here on her cheek, there's no blush. It's all starting about halfway on her cheek and then going up. And one thing he did that I actually totally agree with and I utilize to this day is he used to bring her blush around her temple and around her brow bone. And it's a very flattering way to wear your blush. So we'll be doing that. He also used to add it as her contour for her nose, which we'll do as well. Moving on to her nose contour, I'll be using the same Sigma color, that shade Faking It, and grabbing a clean 221 Luxe, Soft Luxe crease brush from Zoeva. And this is why it was crucial to powder my nose before I went in with this powder, because it would have looked really patchy. So what he used to do is he used to sculpt underneath her nose and then almost create a circle